It's time to get started. Well, I appreciate everyone who is here for this beautiful, beautiful meeting we have here today. We are talking specifically to realtors and real estate agents in the current industry right now. My name is Ryan. I am a solar professional. I have a background in entertainment, and I'm also a holistic health practitioner. So the idea of solar and saving the environment and bringing goodness to the world and bringing a community together to help and respect everyone is my passion. And I just want to make it fun too. So I've been in the solar industry for almost a year now, and I'm really enjoying it. But I want to introduce you to my good friend, Scott. He's over here on the Zoom, Scott Venezia. Um, I've known him for about, was it 7 years now, I think. He
Right
is a
about.
regional sales manager for Power. Power is a $1 billion B corporation and one of the fastest growing solar companies in the nation. Um, he he just loves what he's doing, and the way that he educates people about solar is so profound because it's mostly about listening. It's understanding what the clients need, and his vast knowledge is so powerful, and I just appreciate having him as a friend and a colleague here in this business. So here's Scott.
Thanks for that. Wow. I mean, I didn't even have to pay you that much to say all those nice things.
Oh,
That's pretty right on. Well, good morning, everybody. Like Ryan said, my name is Scott Venezia, and prior to doing solar, I worked in the medical field for 35 years and retired and started solar with another company part-time and just fell in love with what solar provided for clients because I became a client first. That's how I got into the industry. And I've been with Power for um, a little over 4 years now. I've been in the solar industry going on 6 years total. And this is my passion. I love bringing it to people. It's about, and like Ryan said, it's doing what's right for the client. My motto is do the right thing for the right way and for the right reason. It's about listening to people's needs. So I appreciate Ryan both as a friend and a business partner. And like you said, we've known each other for about 7 years, right? And yeah, about 7 years now. And it's great to work with a friend who's passionate about this business. And that's what we look for. It's people that love helping people. So, but anyways, enough about that. Let me have Ryan take back over and start.
thank you, Scott. This is exciting for me and for Scott. We had this idea to share with realtors because in this industry we've come across quite a few realtors who have had quite a few nightmare stories, and a lot of times we come across realtors and we say the word solar and their face turns sour and they want to punch me in the teeth, and that's not very fun. So I understand solar sucks if you're a realtor in some cases, but not all. Unfortunately, there are a lot of sad cases out there that make it really difficult, and we don't have control over that. So when solar became really prolific in the United States about maybe 15 years ago, there were really industrious people who had creative ideas to get solar on people's homes. And unfortunately, they benefited the businesses more than they did the customers. And so when it comes time to selling a house, it made it really difficult because they weren't thinking forward. They weren't thinking of future generations or future activities along with that house. They just wanted to get solar on the house. So you have issues with tax liens and faulty systems that don't even work. I've heard quite a few stories about people who have solar and they said, I just don't use it because it didn't work and I couldn't do anything about it. So it's unfortunate, but we are here to share with you how solar actually works and why it is so important and how to help you through the process when it comes time to listing or selling or buying a home. So here's one thing you should understand. Your clients are going solar with or without you. It's actually the truth. So right now, 1 in 5 homes are going to be going solar in the next 5 years. And that number is going to be increasing dramatically very quickly because of all of the legalizations, the benefits, and really the financial concerns that come along with it. So you got to think about how much are you paying for gas? How much are you paying for your groceries and pretty much everything else? Prices are going up, and that includes utilities. People are getting tired of paying more for the same thing, or maybe even less. When you put the solar on, it helps the homeowners save money tremendously. And the costs are so beneficial. Electric cars are now becoming more and more prolific. I could, when I go out and drive, I probably see at least 5 or 6 Teslas on the road. And now Rivians are starting to show up really prolifically. And in California, what's going on is by the year 2035, it is going to be required that if you're going to purchase a new car, it has to be an electric car. No more gas cars are going to be sold. The other benefits of going solar is the tax credit. You get a 30% tax credit, and we'll talk more in detail about that later. You also have to think about all of the environmental concerns. We've had fires. Just think of the Lahaina fires that happened earlier, or the issue that happened in Texas or California. Power companies were involved in those disasters because they're working on an antiquated old energy grid. Over 150 years in some places, that energy grid built by Thomas Edison. And we're still using that. Newer options are out there, and people are using more and more electricity now with air conditioners and pool pumps. And you have the option as a realtor, you can have your clients go into a new home and have a door knocker come onto them and give them some sort of a deal that could or could not work, or you can help them out in finding a better deal and get them more situated with energy independence and strength. So Scott is going to talk about what is so powerful about the growth of solar right now.
Growth of solar is phenomenal. It's crazy when you look at the market. Right now, there's 140 million homes here in the United States, and out of those 140 million homes, you've got 95 million that are eligible for solar. Do you think there's a need? There's a market. Absolutely. So out of those 95 million, that is only 4.8 million homes that have gone solar to date. That's less than 5% of the eligible homes that currently have solar. There's a problem there. And this is why we're here. We're helping to educate you. And part of what we're doing with that education is working on accelerating the adoption of clean energy. So now we've got 90 million eligible homes for solar. There is a market for sure. And if you look at how fast the market is growing, and according to the US PV installed capacity in 2012, from 2012 to 2022, you see the install of megawatts grew almost 10,000%, 10 times, 10 times, 7,300 megawatts installed in 2012 and almost 70,000 in 2022. And you see the graph on the right, the solar power market is just exponentially growing, and it's going to, you're like Ryan said earlier, your clients are going to go solar with or without you. So why not with you? And as far as the California requirements for solar, a lot of people don't know this. So Ryan, if you want to cover that real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was a law that was passed in California because we know California likes to take risks when it comes to the environment and helping more advanced things happen for the environment with legalities. So in California in 2020, there was a law that required any new build homes to have solar on them. They had to have solar. You could not buy, or you could not build and sell a new home after 2020 that does not have solar. And the thing is, that is now coming to Nevada. In just a few years, it's going to happen here in Las Vegas, which is where we are right now. It's spreading across the country. And with the Inflation Reduction Act that happened, even more policies are coming about that are going to benefit the renewable energy industry. and bring more opportunities for solar and for selling homes. So we want to educate you and help you understand that this is really going to happen. You can't turn your back on solar and just expect it to go away. It's going to become more and more prolific as the years go by.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. Well, it's going on the roofs. That's where it's going. So one of the biggest questions that I get is, how much is this going to cost? This comes from a homeowner. And some realtors ask me that same thing too. Well, how much does a solar system cost? And the first thing I say is, I can't give you that number because each home, each customer is completely different. That's like walking into a doctor's office and the doctor immediately hands you a prescription. You haven't said a word. What's this prescription for? How is this going to help me? It doesn't work. So every system is different, but the payment is what needs to be understood. What happens when you go solar is your system, your house is now producing the electricity that you use. Therefore, you are not drawing electricity from the electric company, the utility company. So they're not going to charge you for electricity that you're not using because you're producing it now on your roof. So in essence, what happens is you are doing a bill swap. So the bill that you're paying is for the solar system itself, if you finance the system. And then this eliminates or nearly eliminates your electric bill, and you just have your connection fee, which here in Nevada, it's $18.50. So imagine that you're only paying the electric company $18.50 each month to have your same electricity that you've been having, but now your house is doing it. And this can be done without any additional cost out of pocket. You don't have to pay anything up front. There's no down payment for it. You could choose to pay cash. Sure, that's an option. And then, there are a lot more benefits to that, or there's downsides to it. Every option is different. Every user has a different idea. But basically, you're not having an additional charge when it comes to solar. You are replacing a payment that you're already making for electricity, but now you're putting it towards clean, renewable energy. So Scott's here going to talk about how funding can happen for a solar system.
Yes, Ryan. I just wanted to reiterate and go back to what you were saying is that, yeah, it's a bill swap. And in most cases, especially in Nevada, it's different in different parts of the country and even from utility to utility within the same states. But in Nevada, every single client pays less. So it's a bill swap and you're paying less every single month. That's a beautiful thing. So how does that happen? What do you do? How do you get solar? Well, one of the first things that we show people is a lease or a PPA option. Now, back in the day, leases and PPAs weren't the best thing to have to get solar. And it was usually PPAs, especially was designed for people that had no taxable income because of the 30% tax credit. So if you did not have a taxable income, it made more sense. But now because of the climate today in finance, which you all know, being in real estate, how that is going, it actually makes more sense most of the time now for a lease or a PPA. And there's just some real basics on it. Leases or PPAs lock in the rate that you're paying. You don't own the system, so you don't get the tax credit with those. The company that is the install gets the tax credit for those. And you still have to have a 650 FICO score plus to qualify, but no loan, no cash. And it doesn't affect DTI. And this is another important thing in asking and finding out about what their clients' future needs are. Do they have any purchases coming up shortly that they want to do? A pool? Do they want to get a new car? Do they want a hot tub that they're going to finance? They don't want something to affect their credit. Well, PPAs and leases don't affect the credit. It's a soft pull. The only time that affects credit, obviously, would be if they defaulted, then that would be reported. And then there's no encumbering of the property itself. Now, this used to happen back in the day, and that's some of the nightmares that you might come across from older leases or PPAs is that they encumbered the property. They put a lien on the property. There isn't. It is what's called the UCC1 fixture filing that is placed on the equipment itself. So there isn't an issue with you selling the property. And these will have a buyout option after 5 years or when you sell the property. So that does exist if you choose to. There's a fixed monthly price that you pay every single month. And then sometimes there's an annual increase. They're called escalators. And it's just like in lending, the higher the escalator, the lower your payments are going to be. But the escalators are so minute. We're talking about 0.9, 1.9, 2.9%, based on what the average increase is for power companies are every year. You're not even going to touch what you would pay for power. You're still going to be well below what the cost of power is by going with a lease or a PPA. And those are usually agreements between 10 and 25 years, depending on what companies you're with. The companies that we deal with are 25-year agreements for loan and PPAs. Excuse me, leases and PPAs. Now, that's one option. The other option is the purchase. And you have the option of paying cash or a loan for your purchase for your solar system. Now, this is a whole different class. If you want to get with me afterwards and understand why, I don't ever recommend people paying cash for their solar system. And there's a specific investment financial reason why not to. Okay, that's just me personally because I have a background with money, a small one, but I do. So to me, it doesn't ever make sense to pay cash for your solar system. So that leaves you with a loan. You can do either. I'm not going to argue with you. If you want to pay cash, you can pay cash, but I want to explain so you have all the information so you can make an informed, intelligent decision. So if you decide to go for a loan, you get the 30% tax credit for cash or loan. That's 30% tax credit from the government that comes to you. Now, I'm not a tax expert and I don't claim to know very much about it. I do know that depending on your tax brackets and how your taxes are, that can be a reduction in the amount you owe or give you actual money back when you file your taxes. Consult your CPA for that. So it adds value to your home. Now, here's a misnomer. You've probably heard this. You could have heard this from other solar reps. Ryan and I are about being transparent. We're about doing what's right, doing the right thing, like I said earlier, the right way for the right reason. We explain everything to everybody. It does not add value to your home immediately if you take a loan. According to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines, an appraisal can only add the value of a solar system to the value of the home if it is unencumbered, which means obviously, that it's paid off. So if you pay cash for the system, yes, it'll add the value to your home. If that is in your transactions, if that is something that's going to be paid off in selling someone's home that has solar and that is paid off, then that value can be added to that home once that's paid off. There's no out-of-pocket cost. You can put money down if you choose to. That's absolutely up to you. So zero out-of-pocket. The loans that we have range anywhere from 5 to 25 years. And it's customizable depending on what your needs and wants are to finance that. And again, that's what the UCC one fixture filing. The standard loans are transferable to new homeowners. They just have to qualify with a 650 or above. If a new homeowner is going to be buying a home, they've probably got the credit to do that. So it's totally transferable. And you're saving from the beginning in most cases, day one savings by going solar. Same services, getting electricity, electrifying your home, but not having the you lost me when you changed the slide, Ryan. That's funny. That's what happens when you lose track. Anyways, so there is some things from the past, the tax liens that did happen with the older loans, and Ryan's going to cover some of that in the UCC one fixture filing.
So if you're here in Nevada, this is not necessarily much of a problem, but there are issues. So there are loan programs, federal loan programs called PACE and HERO. And the PACE situation was actually copied by 30 different states across the country. What those are government loans to help people do home improvements who don't necessarily have great credit, but they still want to do good home improvements and they want to do it for renewable energies. But what those programs did was they put a tax assessment on the property. It was a full tax lien, and these took top priority. They could not be subordinated. So when it comes time to selling the house or even refinancing the house, it had to be paid off, no matter what the cost was. First position. You were kind of screwed. And there were some situations in other states too, outside of the Hero and Pace programs, where it was like a PPA situation where the same tax lien would be put on the house and it could not be sold or transferred until that was paid off. And that creates a lot of a headache. But there are ways to get around that. One of the good ways to do that is the person who is selling the house, they could pay it off in the equity, or not in the equity, in the was escrow. Sorry, E word. So there would be the opportunity, they could pay that off in the escrow, increase the price of the house just a little bit, and then you promote it as an energy efficient house. It is a house that does not have an electric bill. That's another option. But for the most popular situation is the ECC1 filing. This is different. It is not a tax assessment. It is not a lien on the house. And most loans and financing use the ECC1. So Scott touched on it a little earlier. What it is the equipment itself, the solar panels, the inverter, and everything, those are covered under the ECC1 filing. So when it comes time to selling the house, you could either pay that off, or if you want to transfer the ownership, they lift it off. Ownership transfers, and then they put it back on to the new owner. So the responsibility for the loan or the financing then goes to the new owner without any difficulties. It's a very simple process, and it happens through the title and escrow process. Very simple. And that's what makes it easier. So you have the option of paying it off before the house is sold or before the house is bought, or you could simply transfer it over with the ECC1 filing lifting. Now, one of the benefits that came along with the Inflation Reduction Act is the tax incentive. Now, the tax incentive has been around for a long time, and it's been going up and down between 20 and 30% over the past decade or so. And that's what really pushed the acceleration of solar in America. But since 2021, I believe it was, the tax credit was locked in at 30%. And that is good until 2032. So we got almost 10 years of that beneficial tax credit. That's a third of the cost of the system being paid back for your solar. So what a lot of people do is they will take that money and put it into the finance and re-amortize the loan so they get lower payments each month, which is a fantastic way to do it. But what you need to understand is it's a tax credit, not a tax refund. Now, I'm not a tax person. I can't legally give any advice on that. But the way that it works is it is the amount that you owe the government in taxes is reduced by 30% of the cost of the solar. Does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying by that? You're not getting money back from the government. You're getting a reduction in the amount that you owe to the government for your annual taxes. And then that reduction can be used for whatever you choose. So assuming you're saving up money, if you're a 1099, which probably a lot of us are, you're saving up money so you can make your tax payment at the end of the year or every quarter. So now you're going to get a benefit, and you're going to have that good chunk of money in your savings. Use that to pay down your solar, or take a vacation if you want to, whatever you choose. And it's a benefit because it gets you more influenced into going for solar, because we're here to save the environment. We want to save people money, and the government wants you to do that too. Now, how does solar actually work? Scott, why don't you tell us?
I chuckle because I do know, but I don't know all the technicals in the panels themselves, all the scientific stuff that helps. Solar, sun's every day. Hopefully, every day we wake up, there's sun. It's powered by the sun. To keep it simple and not get too, oh, thank you for that, Ryan. There you go. There's the sun.
There's the sun.
Thank you. To not get too technical, but just so you understand. So what happens is the sun hits the solar panels. Solar panels are going to do whatever magic they do inside those solar panels, and they're going to create energy. And that's going to be DC, direct current energy. Now, as most of you might know, your house works off of AC energy. So what happens? So that DC energy that is produced by the solar panels has to go through an inverter. Now, there's a couple different ways that that can happen. There's inverters that go underneath each panel that are a certain type, and then is like where Ryan is circling down there, there is a central inverter that those panels go to, and that inverter then makes that into, I'm sure that's not a real technical term, makes that into, but it makes it into AC energy, and then that AC energy can then be used by your house. It's pretty simple. Okay, nothing super fancy about it. Now, what makes solar so affordable now, and solar so makes so much financial sense, is because of net metering. Now, net metering didn't always exist. People that invested in solar before the curve started going up and more people were adopting solar, they invested a lot of money without these benefits. Net metering is very simple. Your house with solar produces a certain amount of energy on a daily basis, depending on how sunshiny it is, how cloudy it is. It produces energy when the sun hits the panels. When that energy is produced, it is electrifying your house. So you can use your blender, your AC, your electric stovetop, your dishwasher, anything that is electric uses the energy produced by the solar panels. Well, if the system is designed right, which is what we pride ourselves in, there's points earlier in the year where your usage is going to be lower than what you're producing. You're producing more energy than your house uses. So what happens to that excess energy? It goes to the power company. The power company is like your battery, your bank. And the net metering is that excess energy that goes to the power company, and they pay you for that power because they're buying it from you because you produce it. And then at nighttime, when your solar panels obviously would not work, or in the peak of summer in Las Vegas, which all of you know could get up to 115 degrees, and kids are in and out, and pool activities, and people have invited. So your usage goes way up in the summertime. And so those credits take care of the nighttime when there's no solar, and that in the peak summertime, when you're using more than you're generating, you buy the credits back. And that transaction is different from utility to utility, state to state. And I don't want to get too much more in depth in that. And sometimes it's not even available in the state. The net metering is horrible in some, I'm not going to name any states, and then non-existent in Hawaii. So how does solar still work with that? Then you need batteries. The batteries act as the power company and the storage to store the energy for you to use at night or when the system goes down. So those are options. And especially in California, because the prices are absolutely ridiculous. It's like upwards of 4 times what they charge us here in Vegas for power, that you have a huge savings potential even with batteries. So that's the basics of how the net metering works. Now, a lot of people wonder how long these systems last. But let me tell you, Ryan and I were discussing this before the Zoom started, that before I got in the industry, and even in the industry for a while, I did not understand how strong the panels were. You can find videos of them launching uh, baseball cannons at the panels and them not breaking, them laying them on the ground and having a truck drive over them and sitting on them and them not breaking. They are really, really tough. So they have to be able to withstand heat and wind and hail and cold and everything that Mother Nature can throw at them. Now, are they impervious to that? No. Do they have things happen to them where they need to replace? Absolutely. But for the most part, they're tough as nails. They have to withstand, in certain markets that we sell in, we have to have hurricane rated panels for the roofs. Interesting. If you want to write this down and do this later, it's kind of fun to look at. Google roof, solar, and hurricane, and look at some of the pictures. You'll find that you'll see whole entire roof planes removed from a house sitting across the street with the entire roof intact with solar on it off the house, because solar increases the integrity of the roof line. It's amazing how strong they are. So most all solar panels are tier one. We only deal in tier one panels, and they have a 30-year manufacturer's warranty. Now, there are panels that in this floor, I just learned this, and I've been in business 5 years. There are panels that have been in existence, in used for nearly 50 years that are still working. Now, they don't produce at the amount that they used to when they were brand new, but they still work and they still produce energy. 50 years. And that was the old technology. So the panels last forever. And then you have an 80 to 90% performance after 25 years of all these panels that we work with. And they even produce under snow. For any of you that ever lived back east or anywhere where it snows, you ever notice you get in your car during the daytime and you still have light coming in even though it's covered with snow? Yes, it does penetrate the snow and it could still generate electricity through snow. Is it as effective as a clear panel? No, absolutely not, but it still produces. And what's interesting is some of our fastest growing and emerging markets are back east, like Pennsylvania and Massachusetts, the places where it snows. So give pause to that. Think about that. And then here in Nevada, especially, we put critter guards around the panels, and they're metal mesh that goes around the bottom so pigeons cannot nest under there, or other little creatures get under there and cause any issues and eat any wiring on there. So the systems are there. They're designed to be there for the long haul. So there's so many different benefits of having solar. So Ryan, why don't you cover some of that?
One of the greatest things about putting solar in your house is the cost savings. You are going to pay less for the same electricity that you're already using if you have solar on your house. So when you are producing electricity, like Scott said, with the net metering, the excess electricity goes back to the energy grid and you get credits for it from the power company. The more that you are producing, the less you are drawing from the power company. And eventually it's going to come to the point where you're actually going to have negative situations on your bill. So you'll be you're gaining electricity down here in the bottom corner, and the solar will come to the point where it is producing more than you're consuming. And that's where the benefits come. Over time, you're building up more and more credits, and you'll get negative energy bills, which is fantastic because that is saving you money. And now, because you have locked in the price for solar, it is giving you the opportunity to save money. You're going to be saving probably thousands of dollars each month, or I'm not each month, each year. Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice, right?
Yeah, right. But what you also got to think about is when new homeowners are moving into a new house, they might not be aware of what the energy bill is going to be in that new house. So it could be considerably more than from the house where they were living, or if they're coming from a condo or an apartment and they're buying their first house. So they're going from a very small space into a larger, maybe double square footage. And that's going to cost a lot more. They might end up with a $500 electric bill when they're more accustomed to paying $100, $150. So you, as the realtor, you can advise them what the benefit is going to be by having a house that has solar. No more $500 bills, or you're not going to be expecting those $500 bills. You're going to be expecting bills that are considerably lower and more accustomed with what is, actually expected to paying for electricity. The other benefit of solar is the pollution. There is no pollution when you're producing energy with solar. Yes, when you are mining the materials, whether it is materials to produce the solar panels or it is coal to burn in a typical electric plant, there is some cost to the environment for that. But what happens is once the solar panels are completely finished and produced and they're on the roof, there is no more pollution that is happening. But in the old way, the way we're getting electricity right now, there is continuous burning of some kind of a fuel, whether it's coal or natural gas or other products. Those are constantly producing chemicals that are going up into the environment and creating a carbon situation. It's unfortunate. But with solar, you have the benefit of no more pollution, that you are producing clean energy. Another thing to think about is our future, not just for yourself, but think about your children and your grandchildren. What kind of world do you want to give to them? So, from my holistic background, I've studied ancient cultures throughout the past and throughout the history and all across the world. And one of the concepts that I really love about the Native Americans is they have the concept of 7 generations. For every choice that they make, every substantial choice, they have to think about, how is this going to affect 7 generations ahead right now, 150 years forward? What is my choice going to do to affect those people that I don't even know and never will know? Am I going to benefit them? Am I going to respect them? Or am I going to be selfish and just take whatever I can right now? Look forward to the future. It's here for you. And solar helps that. Now, we do things differently at Power. We're not here to sell you power. We just want to show you when solar can be done right. Scott, talk about this, please.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said earlier, I've been involved in solar nearly 5 years, and I became a client first. So I've seen how other companies operate, and those other 3 companies are out of business. Power's not going anywhere. We're $1 billion company, $1 billion in revenue. So we must be doing something right, being a $1 billion company. And one of the things that I'm really proud of is being able to build to suit. Now, I'm not going to name any names of solar companies, but there was a solar company that used to sell packages, small, medium, and large, basically. And not kidding, small, medium, and large, and you picked it. There really wasn't even a salesman. You would do it online, and hopefully that was enough to cover your electricity bills. And hopefully you weren't buying the one that was too big and paying too much and creating way more energy than you needed. We do everything customizable. Like Ryan said earlier, it's about finding out your needs and your wants. We listen. We do what's called a discovery call. We find out, and I don't want to go through all the questions, but there are so many different things that we ask that are pertinent to how we design your system. And a lot of companies don't do that. They want to come in at a lower price, so they'll just throw something up that looks good, but it's not going to serve your needs. So we do what's right for the customer, not for our pocketbook. And I know that sounds kind of trite, but that's the truth. It's just about doing, like I said earlier, that is my motto: doing the right thing the right way and for the right reason every single time. Also, too, with Power, there are no tax liens. No tax liens. It was only encumbering the UCC1 filing is only encumbering the equipment. There's nothing that's going to be put on your house to prevent you from selling your house. Secondly, then you have, or thirdly, is there a fourthly, fifthly? Yeah. So thirdly,
Why not?
yeah, why not? So third, we have our Power Care. That's a 30-year warranty, 30 years. Now, solar panels by manufacturer standards are every tier 1 panel that we have has a 25-year manufacturer warranty. So we pick up the extra 5 years after that. And everything else in your solar system, to the wiring, to the racking, which is the stuff that holds it underneath, to the inverters, which convert the DC energy to AC energy, everything is covered for 30 years. Roof penetration. If for some reason when they install the solar, it creates a leak in your roof and causes damage, that is covered by the 30-year warranty if it is deemed to be because of the install being faulty. Everything's covered. Here's the best part: nothing out of pocket. Now, sometimes some of you might have run across this issue, is something might be covered by warranty, but they don't tell you that you have to pay for shipping and handling to get that product to you. And in the cases of things that need to be installed, they don't tell you that the workmanship's not covered. just the product. That's not so with our 30-year power care. Everything is covered. The transport of the equipment, the workmanship, everything. Nothing out of pocket, and is transferable 100% to the new owner if you choose to sell your home with one simple phone call. So if you've been in your home 10 years and you sell it, that 20-year balance of that 30-year warranty is transferable. So the quality of workmanship is important to us. We have, because Power is a general contractor, we are a platform. We're not a solar company. We are a technology platform like Uber and like Airbnb, but we deal in solar and roofing and HVAC coming soon, anything to do with homes. And so the quality of workmanship is important to us because we have subcontractors, because we're GCs or general contractors in 23 states. And we have QA processes that they have to go through and they have to meet our standards. If they're not up to par, we onboarding, we onboard them. They are off the platform and we find a new installer. So it's really important to Power for that. And then of course the quality equipment. You're going to have a lot of times when you deal with especially smaller local solar companies, they might have one inverter, they might have one panel, they might only have one lender that they deal with. With Power, we have multiple. We have, depending across the United States, and it's available in different markets, we have 4 and 5 different solar panels that we use. Solar panels that have to be hurricane rated in the hurricane areas that we service. And the inverters, we have 3 inverters right now that we can use. So we have lots of different options, and it's all top of the line quality. All the inverters that we use are the top in the market. So that says a lot about Power. It's about what is building and doing what's right for you, the quality workmanship, covering everything so you're covered, the no tax liens, and then the quality equipment. So the solar and the appraisal value, this is, I think, yeah, I covered this earlier. So the appraisal, your house cannot add value to it unless the loan is not encumbered, or it can't be encumbered by a loan. It has to be paid off. But according to National Bureau of Economic Research, there's a 4% premium to homes with solar energy systems that are installed than comparable homes, same homes without solar. So they do garner more money because they have solar. And according to the Appraisal Journal, this is interesting. This is a new statistic for me. This isn't us. You can look this up. The home value increases about $20 for every dollar that is saved on an annual energy cost. So, an example, if you're saving $200 a month times 12 months times 20 years, that's $48,000 in value increase for the home. According to the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, the NREL, they found that homes with solar will sell 20% faster. Now, as a real estate agent, is that important to you to maybe get that home sold faster to get money in your pocket by servicing your client and having that happen faster? Absolutely. And the NREL also found that homes with solar garner 4 to 6 more percent in value over the long run. So here's the thing. There are different ways that this is going to affect you as a real estate agent in a positive way in dealing with solar. And so Ryan's going to cover that with you.
Excuse me. That's right. So you know how solar works now. You know how it can be paid for, and we know about the different difficult situations that you can come across. Here's where we're going to help you. If you have a situation where you get a listing and you want to write the description in the MLS, contact us. We'll help you. I'm a copywriter and I know about solar. I'll be able to write that out so that you can make it more appealing to the buyer's agent when they're looking through that, so that they can pass that on to the buyers and they'll get better information and they'll be more inspired to get it. We'll help you find out what the options are. Get us a contract from the seller. Get us the solar contract so we can know what the possibilities are for transferring the ownership or for doing a buyout, and how we can help that happen, who we can contact from the solar installer or the company that did it. What are the warranties available? And Another thing, if you have a listing, you can inform the buyers what the benefit actually is. So by going solar, there is going to be a tremendous reduction in the amount of energy costs for that house. People who don't know anything about solar, who are buying a house, you can explain that to them and we'll help you with that. So look at this, for example. You can give them an estimate of what the energy bill would be if they did not have solar on that house. You're going to explain this to the buyer. So for an example, let's say it's a 1,425 square foot house. If you multiply that by 12, so that's for the full year, that comes to 7125. Divide that by 12 and you get $593. So, it's a kind of an estimate, but a 1,425 square foot house is going to have possibly a 500, maybe even more dollar a month bill. With solar, it's not even going to be close to that. Not at all. Now, if you're on the buying side and you have a buyer and you come across a house that your buyer is interested and it has solar on there, we're going to help you too. Contact us. We're here to help you. So get the contract from the seller so that we can look at it, understand what the details are, and we'll even talk to your buyers for you. Contact us. We're here to help you. Now, sometimes you're going to come across a lease if you're buying a house that has a solar lease on it. If it's an okay lease, the cost might not be great, or it might not produce as much as what's actually being consumed. You can negotiate with that. So one possibility is negotiate with the seller to give a compensation of about 1 or 2 years of equivalent payments for that lease, so that when the new buyer comes in, there's a little bit of a reduction there. Or you could simply ask the seller to buy out the system, pay off the system before it transfers ownership. That's a possibility. And we can walk you through that too. Contact us. We are here to help you. So if you ever take a listing with solar, just email us, contact us. We're here for you. If you ever make an offer with a buyer, we're here for you. We will walk you through it. We will help you. We will talk to your buyers. We will talk to your sellers. We will help you with the negotiation process so that it becomes more beneficial to the seller, to the buyer, and to both agents on both sides. We want to be your advocate to help you understand, because that is going to make you a greater value to your customers as a realtor. You are going to be the one that they look to and respect when it comes to saving them money and renewable energy. That's what we're here for you. And we're not going to charge you anything for this, because we want you to understand that we are on your side. We want to see you succeed. When you succeed, everyone succeeds. And we want to be your partner when it comes to solar and renewable energy. So if you come across a buyer, you put them into a new house and they say, hey, what about solar? We're going to be your resource to help you through that process and, maybe even get you paid for that. So Scott is going to talk about that a little bit, but here's a couple of things that I want you to understand. When you have a solar contract and you get that from the seller, send it to us. We will comb through it. We will find all of the details about it. We'll see what the company is, what their terms are for the loan, how the transfer of ownership happens. Ask them for some previous electric bills also, so that you can see how much savings there is on the electric usage. So look at this bill here on the right side. You can see over here, the blue bar is the energy consumed from the electric company by the homeowner. The orange is the electricity that is produced by the solar system. Look at this. It's about even right here. But then you go to the next month when there is a much more abundant sunshine, you could see that it's more than half is actually being produced by the solar system. This surplus right here and this surplus right here is going to the electric company, and you're getting credit for it, which means you're going to get a bill from the electric company with a credit, not a charge. That is a tremendous benefit for the homeowners, because now they're moving into a house where they're not going to have to be stuck on the utility, and they're not going to have to be experiencing increasing rates every single quarter. Yes, here in Nevada, every single quarter the rates go up, and it's going to be more and more in the future. So we are a resource for you. Contact us, email us, call us, whatever you need. We are your resource to help you through the process. And we appreciate the company that we work with. We're called Power. As Scott said, it's an online platform that specializes in solar right now, renewable energies right now, and we're going to expand into the future. But Scott, tell us why Power is so great.
Do we have about an hour? I'll
No.
just I'll just touch on the highlights. Look, I know everybody, you're going to always talk good about the company that you're involved with. I get that. That's a normal thing. But I've experienced other solar companies that I worked with, and this is by far and away in so many different levels, from the CEO all the way down to the other consultants that I work with and that are friends and business partners. It's just a different experience. Power is different. Our whole thing is to help accelerate the adoption of clean energy throughout the world. We're going to be $100 billion company someday. Mark my words. We're a billion now. Mark my words. We're going to be $100 billion company globally. So right now, Power is one of the fastest growing solar companies. I'm going to call it solar company, even though we're not. We're a platform. I explained that earlier, but we're one of the fastest growing solar companies in the country. So for some of you that aren't familiar, Inc. magazine for decades has been putting out the Inc. 5000, the top 5,000 companies in the United States. And that's out of 32 million. That blew me away. I had no idea. There's 32 million businesses in the US, 32 million. So they rank the top 5,000 most solvent, fastest growing year over year companies. And to be on the Inc. 500 is the top 500 out of 32 million businesses. Well, it's really exciting for me that we have made the Inc. 500 4 years in a row. 4 years. There are very few companies that have ever made the Inc. 500 4 consecutive years. And I believe we're the only solar company to ever do that, growing year after year after year, 3,000% in growth. We've done $1 billion in the last 4 years with Power. So we're solid. We're not going anywhere. And that's one of the reasons I feel like this is my home. I know this isn't going anywhere like the other companies that I worked with. And what's so special about working with Power is our ambassador program. And we're really excited about this. Now, think of this, the power of this. And this is why we mention this. Out of that $1 billion in revenue, nearly 20% of that, almost $200 million of our revenue is generated through our referral ambassador program. Now, it's a small smattering of homeowners and people's friends and family that are ambassadors. The big chunk of our ambassadors are professionals like yourselves as real estate agents. We have professionals in the lending community, professionals for HVAC, and for roofing, in anybody that has anything to do with homeowners, because that is our market. And then you, as a real estate agent and any other professional, you become more of an asset to this person, because now you're doing more than just providing roofing, more than just providing real estate, more than just providing HVAC and so forth. The ambassador program is $1,000 referral commission to you for doing absolutely nothing but trusting us with your clients to do what is the right thing for them, to see if they even qualify for the program, and take them through that and do what's right. $1,000. That's not chump change. Now, I know some of you that are on here that may be a broker or a real estate agent, they're not sure. Just to set this at ease for you, because we have a lot of, I don't even know the number, it's in the thousands, I know that for sure, thousands of real estate agents and brokers that are on our platform as an ambassador referral. Now, according to the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, which is RESPA, which y'all should be familiar with, This doesn't fall under that because it's not a mortgage-backed program of any kind. Falls under the home improvement section solar does, which is approved. So it's not an issue for RESPA, just to set your mind at ease for that. But $1,000. Now that's just a flat referral commission for sending someone to us. So we work with professionals in lots of different avenues. The $1,000 is not the only referral commission we have. This is just the simplest and easiest to explain to you. But we have referral commissions upwards of $3,500 and more. And if that is something that interests you, you can get with Ryan and I afterwards and set a time and we can discuss that. So you take your average client that you might make $10,000 on 15,000, whatever the case is, and you might add another $3,500 for doing what you're already doing, but referring that client so we can help them take care of you. That's more money for the same effort. I think that's a win-win. So we're really excited about the ambassador program. We literally across the world have tens of thousands of ambassadors. And I say across the world, even though we're in the United States, because they have connections in the US or they market to get leads in the US, and we work with them on that. And one of my best friends in this industry, it was funny, I'm just looking at it, he's calling me right now. That is really weird. That is so weird. And he's my direct mentor. He lives in Mexico. He's been an expat down in Mexico for years, but he runs his business from the beaches of Mexico with power. So that's the beauty of our company. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Ambassador program. It's a phenomenal way to add revenue and a revenue stream and create another vertical for yourself with something that you're already doing. It's pretty much a no-brainer. So go ahead, Ryan.
I want to bring some light on this. This doesn't cost anything to be an ambassador. There is no financial commitment. There is no time commitment. All you do is send us a referral. Someone has interest in solar, send it off here. Scott, this homeowner wants some solar. That's it. We take it from there. The end. Your task is done. You can follow along the process on the online system. Once it's installed, you get your $1,000, and you can do that as many times as you want. Simple, no cost to you. So one of the reasons that I love power is the environmental side of things. I didn't get into this business because I wanted to sell solar. It just wasn't my thing. I'm not a salesperson, but I have a tremendous respect for the environment because of my holistic background and training. I love anything that has to do with taking care of this planet. And I was meeting with a gentleman who owns a green construction company, and he and I were just meshing so good because he has the same concept. Let's look forward to the future. How can we save the planet? How can we make this world a better place? Power does things tremendously different than any other solar company. First of all, we are completely carbon neutral. Every solar system that we put on a house is actually offset by the different programs that we partner with, planting trees and helping other communities around the world. We are neutralizing the effect of production and installation of the panels. And then after that, there is no pollution at all. But the efforts that we have put in since our inception here are tremendous. We have stopped over 1 billion pounds of carbon going into the atmosphere. 1 billion pounds of carbon. It's a tremendous thing. That's equivalent to 109,000 cars not being on the road or planting over 8 million trees. We are doing good things for the planet because that's what power was intended for. Jonathan Budd, the guy who started the company, he's such a great dude, but he wasn't interested in starting a solar company either. He got inspired to create some sort of a system that was going to save the planet. And it just turned into this situation. And every installation that we do, we are making steps to make this a better planet for ourselves. And since we're expanding so greatly, we're doing even more and more good. And that's why I love this. That's why Scott loves this. And I hope you love it too. You don't have to be a part of power, but just understand that we're doing good things for the community, for the homeowners, for the financial industry, and for the environment. Maybe it's not good for the utility companies, but that's not our issue. We want to look to the greater good for the greater world. That's what we're here for. And we are here to help you. We want you to succeed. We want you to see solar and your eyes light up and say, ooh, this is a better opportunity. I can help this person. I can help these homeowners get into a better situation, save them money, get into a happier house, and look forward to their future, not only financially, but for the generations ahead. Family moves in there, they have a couple of kids, they end up owning that home for decades, and then the kids inherit this home. Now, this home is completely energy independent, no electric bill, because the parents who just moved in last year decided to put solar on that house, and now there is no need for electricity. Tremendous. Thinking forward, respecting forward, respecting the generations coming ahead of you, respecting the planet that we live on. That's why we are here. That's why I am here. I love this so much. We are here for you. Call us, email us, contact us. We're going to help you through it. Goodbye.
Bye.